What's up, basement fans? It's your old pal Pete, back with a segment. Things are coming together here in Brooklyn. Everything's starting to get back to normal, the gas lines notwithstanding. The boys and I will be back with a regular old roundtable next week, but for now, it's me and Steve, and we're going to review some books for you real quick. First on my list, I picked up Deadpool #1. I picked up the really adorable Scottie Young cover. I'm really digging this guy's work, and I'm glad. I liked him for a while, and I'm really glad that he's doing a lot more covers and he's doing a lot more interiors and everything. His style evolves. It's not just that little really super chibi kind of work that you're seeing lately, but he's got a bunch of different stuff. I highly recommend you follow him on Twitter and check out his Tumblr and everything. His work is really, really cool. Deadpool 1 was funny, but it was missing something. To me, it's not Deadpool if he's not talking to his word balloons, you know? So I really missed that aspect of it. The whole, dead presidents and he has to go kill the zombie presidents is pretty funny. I'm at least going to stick around for the first story arc and see where it goes, but I do hope they implement the word balloons thing real quick, because that was just a really hysterical aspect of the character for a long time. I got really used to that. Speaking of Scottie Young, I picked up, just by, for you, Ramone, I picked up A Babies versus X Babies. It's a one-shot, just kind of spoofing the whole Avengers versus X-Men story. This fucking book is drawn completely by Scottie Young. It's so goddamn cute it makes me want to punch kittens. It's ridiculous. It's hysterical. You need to get this. It'll be the best $3 you spend probably in past couple of weeks. It was absolutely hilarious, and I've read it twice. I passed it off to 3 or 4 other people. Just check this out real quick. It's a fast read, and it's fucking hilarious. Even Captain America's got the little lowercase A on his head. It's just so good. Next up, I got in front of me Swamp Thing Annual 1. This whole Animal Man and Swamp Thing Rot World, along with Frankenstein Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is probably a really vain attempt at saving that book. I know Frankenstein's going off to Justice League Dark soon, so you probably expect that series to be canceled after this whole Rot World thing is over. I like the concept of Frankenstein being part of the rot, but not, because he doesn't rot. He's dead, but he doesn't rot, so that's pretty cool. I'm really enjoying the whole Rot World thing, where, Swamp Thing and Animal Man have come back from the rot. What seemed to be minutes for them is actually years later, and the entire world around them is just dead and decayed. All the heroes are dead, with the exception of a few, and now they're each having their own private wars. There's Rot World Green, and then there's Rot World Red, and eventually I'm sure this is going to come back together. I hope it doesn't drag out too long. I don't want it to go for a whole other fucking year, but it probably will. But I'm still enjoying it. It's still 2 great series that I'm really glad I stuck with. Definitely check them out. Let us know what you think. Questions at PetesBasement.com, Facebook.com/PetesBasement, and follow us on Twitter for up-to-the-minute reviews. We always look forward to hearing from you guys. We love you. You're great. I picked up 8+X #1. I got it purely for the Spider-Man 50th anniversary cover, and 2 time travel stories in 1 book was a lot for me to wrap my head around. I hope it doesn't stay like that. I'll pick up issue 2, but at this point it's just kind of an Avenger X-Men team-up book where you take one character from one team, one character from the other team, and put them together for a quick half a book story. I like the concept. I didn't care for these particular 2 stories too much. Like I said, a little too much fucking time travel, a little too much for me, but overall it's a good concept, so I'll see where it goes. On the subject of AVX, Consequences polished off this past week, and it was phenomenal. Fucking great. I liked Consequences so much better than I did the actual 12 issue of Avengers vs. X-Men, where now you've got Scott Summers in prison, and I like when he pulls out the metal filings, and it says escape, and he's talking to Magneto, and he's like, no, not now. He's like, all right. And then the 5th issue, he decides it's time to break out of prison, and he shuffles out the metal filings. He's like, now. And Magneto turns to the robot chick from X-Men and Magic, Colossus's sister. And I like how it came down to Magneto being able to choose whether or not he was going to be a hero or a villain. And when Scott decided it's time to break out of jail, he's like, villains it is. It was just a great line. It was a great, quick series. I really want to see what's going on in All New X-Men, which is debuting this coming week. That's Magneto, Cyclops, and Magic. I think the robot's name was Destiny or some shit. Justice? I don't know. Fucking something. Who cares? Mutant-hating robot. Don't give a fuck. But I do want to see what happens with Cyclops and my boy Magneto for the most part. So I'm definitely going to be picking up All New X-Men for at least, the first story up and see what happens. The idea of an X-Men villain book is definitely something that's attracted me to it. Maybe it'll be like X-Force. I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope for the new X-Force book with Colossus and Forge and Cable on it. But, maybe I'll pick up #1 of that and see. But, I don't know. I'm a little tired of fucking Cable. He died a hero's death in Messiah War, or whatever it was. And then they brought him back pretty whack. And I just didn't care for that too much. Got Colder. #1 from Dark Horse. This is a weird book about this guy who was in an insane asylum that burned down in the 40s, and he was kind of like a mute. And for some reason, now there's this like demon, this interdimensional demon that looks a lot like the Joker, and he's kind of running around devouring people's souls. And he finds this guy in the modern age. For some reason, he hasn't aged. When he sees him in the 40s, like he's at the asylum when it burns down, right? And he sees this guy and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna get colder." And for some reason, assuming this stops his aging process, the guy's body temperature just keeps going down. He's at like 42 degrees Fahrenheit, which obviously is, you're dead at that point. You're very dead. And he's got this nurse watching him. He has no history. They don't know where he came from. They don't obviously know he's from the 1940s, and he hasn't aged. But this demon, finds him again, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, you remember me? Oh, guess not. Well, we'll talk at some point soon." I don't know. I picked this up because of the fucking crazy-ass cover. I mean, look at that. Doesn't that make you kind of squint a little bit? But interesting enough that I'll go back and buy issue 2 and see what happens with it. I want to know. It's only going to be 5 issues long, and I've wasted fucking stupider money on dumber shit. So I'll let you know how it goes. I want to see what happens with this demon soul-eating guy, and why he didn't just eat this guy's soul in the first place, and he let him live unchanged, unaged for 70 years or whatever, 80 years. Well, we'll see. What else do I got for you? Oh, Wolverine Max, #1 from a couple of weeks ago. I'm backtracking here a little bit, folks, because haven't had a good review in a while since, with the blackout and everything. Wolverine Max, man, I've been waiting for this for months, for years. Since you guys know me. I'm fucking waiting for Wolverine Max, and they managed to fuck it up. How do you fuck up an R-rated Wolverine story? It should be impossible. And they did. They fucking did. The artwork was abysmal. It was terrible. And you're going to have another fucking Wolverine amnesia story? That's your concept here? Come on, man. Everything in the book was forced, from the fucking to the killing. Everything was forced. All I needed was Wolverine fucking, killing some Japanese thugs or some ninjas or something. And now you wrote this shit-ass fucking #1 story, and it's not going to be well received. And then you're going to cancel my book before it even has a chance to shine, fire this fucking writer, and get somebody new on it, get somebody competent. Get Brubaker or Azzarello, somebody with, some stones to write a good story. That doesn't have to resort to Wolverine not remembering who he is, because last I recall, he fucking remembered who he is for the last 8 to 10 years, ever since the Scarlet Witch problem with House of M. So, let's fucking drop the bullshit. This is stupid. Fucking Wolverine Max, you gotta fuck this shit up. Speaking of Max stories, you know how much I love the Punisher Max that's going on, these Untold Tales. But flipping to the regular 616 Punisher, they came out with Warzone a couple weeks ago. And this looks like it's going to be a direct lead-in to the Thunderbolt series that's coming out soon. The Thunderbolt's going to be led by General Thunderbolt Ross, the Red Hulk. He's got a Deadpool in it, which, by the way, in Deadpool, he's actually working with S.H.I.E.L.D., so expect this to be a lead-in for the Thunderbolts book as well. But right now, the Punisher is going to be taking on the Avengers in Warzone. He already fought Spider-Man, and Wolverine pretty much came to warn him that, the rest of the Avengers are going to be gunning for you, so be careful, Frank. And it was a really good story, and I think it'll be a great wrap-up to, this past couple of year and a half worth of the Punisher series, which was excellent. A little sorry to see that go, but it's coming to a good conclusion. Everybody thinks that the Punisher killed these cops. Obviously, we know he didn't. Frank doesn't kill cops. But, the Avengers just came to the conclusion, we can't really let this guy run rampant like this. He's been at this for a while, and this is out of the question. So, by letting him go, we're condoning what he does. We have to bring him in. So, I'm looking forward to issue 2. I'm looking for, I want to see how many Avengers asses he kicks before somebody finally brings him in. It'll probably wind up being Captain America, because I know Punisher he holds Cap in a very high regard, being soldiers and everything. So that'll be really interesting. I read Phantom Stranger, issue 1, a couple weeks ago, and I did not know the Phantom Stranger actually had a human identity. Is that new for the DCNU? Anybody want to help me out there? I'm not too familiar with the character. That's why I picked up issue 1 to check it out. And apparently he does whatever the fates fucking decree him to do, or whatever God decrees him to do. And he just turns this innocent, magic type of girl over to her demon father, because that's what the fates told him to do. That's what his higher power told him to do. Because it'll work itself out and good will win in the end, he says. An interesting enough story. I don't know if I'm going to stick around, but, I wanted to check it out, because I think the Phantom Stranger is a cool character overall. Like I said, I don't really know too much about him. So, I don't know. I took a shot on it. It didn't impress me too much. Maybe I'll check out issue 2 if I got $3 to waste and, see what happens with it. But no promises on that one. Did you guys read Phantom Stranger? Anybody like it? Anybody big, huge Phantom Stranger fan that can help me out with a little bit of an origin story without me having to go on Wikipedia myself? Hit us up. You know the drill. Got Alan Roberts' Killogy, issue 1. This is actually really cool. Alan is a good buddy of ours, and he also is the brains and the crazy brain behind Wire Hangers and Crawl to Me, who's come out each year with a very successful horror story. And this one is basically these 3 people who are locked into jail, and there's a zombie outbreak going on. But Alan does a really great job of depicting, we got Frank Vincent as Sally Snowcones, Marky Ramone as Cole Edwards, and Brea Grant as Summer Rhodes. And you can see all 3 of these covers on the back, and then there's a joint cover going on. I just picked the first random one. But you could so tell who these guys are as soon as you look at them. The artwork is awesome. The zombies are really creepy. It's just really an entertaining book. I'm looking forward to seeing where else this goes. I love my fucking zombie books, so. And the fact that we've got 3 actual, famous movie stars and shit in, it's just proving fun. Really, you buy the book for Frank Vincent, because Frank Vincent running around in a fucking, we got a Goodfellas fighting zombies. This is hilarious. It's fucking great. Fly, issue 1. This is a sequel to Zenoscope's Fly, which came out last year. Now it's The Fall. Fly the Fall, number 1. Basically, if you're unfamiliar with this series, I really enjoyed the first arc. It was 5 issues long, and it has this drug that you take intravenously, and it gives you superpowers. And obviously, there are all the drug addiction undertones and everything that go along with that. This one, I didn't enjoy it as much. The artwork is a little different, and I had a hard time trying to determine who was who as far as the characters went. This woman shows up at the end, bailing, the main hero out of jail, and I have no idea who she is. I don't know if that's a cliffhanger. Do we know this person? Do we not know this person? No idea, but I'm going to stick around because I enjoyed the first one so much. So I figure it'll just take me a little while to get reacclimated to the new artwork, and we'll see what goes on. And if it's not a new artist, it just looks different than the original did. But still a fun story. Right now, the nerdy guy whose dad invented the fly serum is now seeking revenge on the guy that killed his father for, well, killing his father. And he wanted the serum all for himself, and then he killed his dad. So now the nerdy guy's like, you should have killed me when you had the chance. So, and now he kills his family. He kills his wife. So it's pretty cool. That's what I would do if somebody killed my dad. Real quick, picked up these 2 horror books. Haunted Horror, #1 from Yo Comics, and Indie Horror Comics, #1. This was pretty decent. You know, everybody tries to write these new horror stories with the same twists as like the old EC books, and sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. Overall, I would give this a solid B minus maybe. It was a good effort. It was entertaining. It fell short on a couple of stories, but you know, then there were a couple of ones, and then I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. All right, nice show. You know, $4.75 wasn't too bad. The artwork's pretty decent on the stories, and you know, the art and the writer vary on each of the stories as you go through. This one, Haunted Horror, was very entertaining. These all feature reprints from 1950s pre-code horror, and it tells you on the bottom of each story, you know, where the original story came from. It was Weird Terror #1, 1952. This magazine is Haunted #4, also 1952. And this was a very entertaining book if you're into, you know, old Tales from the Crypt style stories. I highly recommend you get a hold of that one. And that about does it for me, guys. We'll be back next week with a regular roundtable. I'm going to turn you over to Steve. I'm going to finish my whiskey. And I'm going to relax. Have a good one. Again, thank you all for writing in, you know, checking on us, see if the basement and everything was okay. We will be back next week at full steam, and we'll see you then.
Hey, segments again. What are you going to do? Hopefully next week we'll be back at the basement again. And just so you guys are all aware, Ramone, you haven't seen him in a couple of weeks. He's okay. It's not like he's off the show or anything like that. He just, he has had issues with his internet, and he hasn't been able to record any segments for us, and get them to us. So, hopefully next weekend we'll be back in the basement, and we'll have a regular roundtable episode, and he'll be there. So it's not like he's off the show or anything like that. So don't worry. Don't fret. So, not just me and Pete. Ramone's still around. Okay, so I saw, obviously I'm editing this episode, and I saw Pete's segment already, so I figured rather than just talk about some of the stuff he talked about, I'll cover some of the other things. That way you don't hear the same review twice. Avenging Spider-Man 14. As you know, Avenging Spider-Man's been, since its inception, it's been him teaming up basically with 1 or 2 or 3 other characters for like a 1-2 story arc. 1 or 2 issue story arc. Started out great, and then it's been like, depending on the creative team and depending on who he's being teamed up with, it's, you know, always iffy. Now here he's with Dinosaur, Devil, and Moon Boy. They're not new characters. They've been around a while. I personally, now the premise is that Horizon Labs goes to Savage Land for like research, scientific research. Why they would go unchaperoned without any protection, I don't know. That seemed a little like, really? But be that as it may, I guess. And the whole thing, I mean, dinosaurs belong in Savage Land, so I'm not like, what the hell are dinosaurs doing there? That's normal for Savage Land. But, I don't know, Dinosaur, Devil, and Moon Boy, it's just kind of silly. So, and I don't think it needed to last more than 2 issues, because it's not done with this issue. So, it wasn't bad, it was just silly. And then the next issue, which Spider-Man can be, there's nothing wrong with Spider-Man being silly, but I think a better story could have been done. The artwork was really good. Daredevil End of Days 2. Now, when I talked about the first one, I didn't really like the first one too much. Second one I liked a little better. Um, Maybe it was either just not clear or I just didn't get it in the first one. But this takes place in the future, not super far in the future, not like Star Trek future, but like I don't know, maybe 15 years in the future, something like that. Um, Daredevil's dead. He has like a last word, kind of like a rosebud type of thing, except it's Mapone, Mapone. And Ben Urich, who's a reporter, investigative reporter, is trying to find out what the significance of that is. Um, he's also trying to track down Black Widow, who's presumed dead. But he comes across Nick Fury, who's pretty much telling him stop asking questions. Elektra. He finds Elektra through her license plates, which I would think if I were Elektra, I'd do better than being able to have somebody track me through my license plates. But I don't know. But I think it's written primarily by Bendis. And I've had issues with Bendis' writing in the past. Like I've always said, his stories were good, but the banter or the dialogue is usually it's like forced or but I gotta say this is better because the dialogue is necessary. It gets to the point. It's not like a lot of like over like self-indulgent just talking to hear myself talk type of thing. There's a lot of it. Most of it was just kind of like story driven. So I like this one better than the last one. I'm gonna keep getting it to see what happens. Hopefully it's whatever the significance of his last dying word is good enough to keep reading. Um, Detective Comics 14 came out. John Layman wrote it. I'm assuming it's the same John Layman. Actually, no, I know it's the same John Layman who writes Chew. And this was good. He gets to do an issue with Penguin as Bruce Wayne. And that leads him to Poison Ivy. And Poison Ivy's trying to like right some social wrongs, but she's going about it the wrong way, and she's hurting people, not intentionally, but she's hurting people in the process. Innocent people, like night watchmen and things like that. So of course Batman goes to stop her, but in the process they get tricked. There's a setup. Poison Ivy gets kidnapped, and that's where it leaves off. But apparently Poison Ivy and Clayface are an item. So that's what it ends with. Poison Ivy being taken away and Clayface saying, "What'd you do with her?" So I liked it. It was good. Damien was in it, and he wasn't such a pain in the ass as he normally is. So that was good too. And the art was pretty good. Actually, the art was very good. Iron Man 1 came out. They redid the Extremist storyline with AIM and everything. It was okay. The artwork, of course, was Greg Land, which is great. And the writer is Kieran Gillian, I think. He's done a lot of X-Men stuff. I like him. He's good. So, was it a necessary story? No. But it's the number one. So I guess they want to kind of, you got to start from somewhere, I guess. And what else came out? Well, a lot of other stuff came out, but I'll just leave it there. Also, the Skeletor Origin came out. That was good. A couple weeks ago, the last issue of the Cape 1969 came out, and I think I was right that the cape is part of the uniform, so I was correct with that. But that I wasn't a genius to figure that out. That kind of just was kind of obvious. And I'm proposing that, I don't know how many of you read Mad. Me and Roger used to read Mad when we were young, all the time. Yeah, you have people, they do this all the time. They ask fans to take a picture with a magazine, Mad Magazine, and somebody famous that they're, let's say, Okay, they're making fun of Howard Stern here. Like, you get a picture of this issue and Howard Stern, and you send it to Mad, and they post it. Or like here, they're making fun of the Avengers. So like, if you met one of the cast of the Avengers, you take a picture of them like this, or like this, depending on what right-handed or left-handed, and you would show this magazine, and they post it. So they've been doing that for many years. So what I would say, if you guys can do, if you guys want, you don't have to. Film somebody saying Pete's Basement. It could be a random person. Don't get into trouble or anything like that, but send it to us, and we'll, if we get enough of them, we'll make like a little montage of people just saying Pete's Basement. We'll post it up there and everything. All right. So that's it. Normally I would say let's go to Ramone, but next time. Hope everybody's safe, and happy Veterans Day to everybody who's served our country. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next time. Oh, that's when I'm supposed to leave. All right. You know what? I'm gonna get more coffee. Pause. Ooh, more coffee. This coffee's hot. That's the worst coffee I ever had in my life. Ugh. Ugh. All right. Let's start this.
Everything in the book was forced from the fucking to the killing.